Hello. Hello. Good evening to you. Can you hear me? Hello. If one person could respond, that would be fine. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
You can hear me, right? Melissa, thank you. Thanks. Today we will have about 1.5 hours of time to understand what is a portfolio and what's the purpose of doing it. What are the benefits you get by doing it? And also, how do we do that? And also, how to use it thereafter. Now, you find the word portfolio is an assortment of different things that would demonstrate the colorfulness of person's work. In other words, how diverse his activities, kind of very different activities. Now you find in our life, even in college, from school to university to workplace, and when we are working in society, we engage in many activities that give certain amount of a reflection back to understand what have we done, how have we done it, what was the learning we had by doing it, and also how could we use it to the future. So you find like Steve Jobs, it is like you are connecting the dot backward. You are trying to recall some of your activities that you have done. And in order to present methodically about your achievements, about your experiences, about your learning, to a discerning reader to assess you. If it is for an employment, they will assess you how good you are, how best you fit into a given position, whether you would have certain capabilities, competencies that could be made use by the employer, and whether they would be able to harness you for better career. So you find a portfolio is not a linear relations. It is something of an assortment of different things you have done in your life. Now you find when I write a portfolio, if I am a teacher, I can write a portfolio about my teaching career. If I am a doctor, I could write my portfolio about my doctoral professional work. If I am a nurse, I could do the same. If I am an accountant, I could do the same. Even if I am a writer, I could do the same. But for you and me, today's session, you are a college student. You would be stepping into the world of work. So there you will be seeking employment, and thereafter you are seeking a career for which that you need to demonstrate your capabilities, for which you must write a portfolio. I use that beautiful word called the assortment of things, right? If you take, if you buy a Melbourne assortment packet of biscuit, you get different biscuits. So like that, it's not the same thing. Say for an example, maybe your education, maybe your extracurricular activities, maybe your recreation work, maybe your social work, maybe in-plant training you had done. So there could be many things. So sometimes we do things and we forget it. We don't keep a track of that. So people who are writing a portfolio, they keep a track of that. They record it. They record it in a way that it could be a good material for someone to view it, read it, and to assess you. So when you are writing a portfolio, sometimes you develop your writing capabilities. Because if you write something that when somebody reads it, they would see whether you have a growth in your knowledge, you have a growth in your skill set, you have a growth in your competencies. So you must be able to sort of design your portfolio in order to demonstrate that you are on the upward trend. You are developing, you are not static. You are growing. So the trajectory of your achievements will show you that you are growing. So that you must remember, it is not a kind of a scatter diagram. You should be able to keep that in mind, maybe chronological order or whatever you write. So I'm going to spend time with you on that today. But why we do that is, it's important for me to, I have been into human capital development for long years. And I have worked in 6 different countries, including Sri Lanka. And I have worked in 11 industries. I have worked in multinationals of world best-in-class human resource practices. So I could tell you from my experience, about 98% of the candidates who come for interviews, and they are trying to get into a job by chance because they have not made a coherent effort to get the job. You find when you go for an interview, you are going for a conversation, very strategic conversation. The people of the organization that you are going, they have dedicated their time, energy, and effort to receive you. Then to engage with you in a conversation. So most of the time you will be speaking, they would be assessing by asking certain probing questions. You find every business, there is a strategic HR activity called manpower planning process. It is a very strategic, it is important for a business success. Therefore, they would design the jobs. They will prepare a job description. They would work job specification and they would be ready for you. So they are trying to select the best in best. So when you send in your resume or your curriculum vitae, I will explain to you the difference between these two. And there would be a shortlisting part. You find your resume will not give you a job. Your curriculum vitae will not earn you a job. It will only create a curiosity in the minds of a reader to see you, to have a conversation with you. So your resume or the curriculum vitae also must be designed in a way when a person who reads it must feel that I must see this person. It is worthwhile to dedicate little time to have a chat with that person. So you need to design your resume, even your, we say curriculum vitae, in such a way the reader get enthralled.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, shall we on the camera, and also shall we welcome our guests before we go to the introduction?
I was expecting that to happen, but nobody did that. So therefore I started. You can go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the lovely introduction, sir.
Yeah. You want me to do that or you are doing it?
I'll do it, sir.
Okay, lovely.
Okay. So good evening to everyone here. So today I'm marking off with yet another milestone in the workshop series of JESA, organized by the Career Skills Development Society of the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura for PURA Employability Skills Award, which is known as JESA. So this is extremely an extravaganza to rewarding the brilliant undergraduates in Mother Japura. So with the purpose of adding more professional guidance in our JESA awards, we have stepped into this mandatory workshop series to equip all the key aspects that that would be important when applying for your first employment. And today's session is all about portfolio writing. And I hope you got the introduction about on it, through what Mr. Pat said. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Professor Sudat Manjula Amarasena, the head of the Department of Decision Sciences in the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, and the director of the Career Guidance Unit, and Mrs. Chaturangani Tennakon, Career Advisor of the Career Guidance Unit, and the Senior Treasurer of the Career Skills Development Society for this valuable workshop. So also I would like to welcome all the academic staff members of the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura who joined with us today to light up this session. And then I want to take the opportunity to welcome the organizing committee members of JESA and the JESA workshop series to this event. So finally, yet importantly, please accept my heartfelt welcome to the audience who joined with us today, as you're indeed the heart and soul of the JESA workshop series. So as the next part of today's workshop, I'm immensely pleased to invite Mrs. Chaturangani Tennakon, who is the Career Advisor of the Career Guidance Unit and the Senior Treasurer of the Career Skills Development Society. She will be enlightening our session with a few words. Mrs. Chaturangani.
Thank you, Malisha. Good evening to you all. And actually, thank you very much, Mr. Pat. So then, actually, every year you give us your help, gives us your helping hands to carry this workshop series. So I appreciate your commitment and dedication on behalf of our university students. And again, I take this opportunity to give our heartfelt thanks on behalf of the Career Guidance Unit and the university. And I take this opportunity to thank all of the organizing committee members who organized this workshop series. And I wish you all the best for all the JESA contestants, and wish you all the best for you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So your words of wisdom are always a strength, and guidance towards us. So as the next step of today's workshop, I'm pretty sure you got a good introduction about portfolio writing at the beginning of the session. So let me introduce our resource person for today. So he graduated in the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura itself and read his further academics in the Northwestern University, Columbia Business School and ECU. So not only that, his professional life with international exposure in human capital and development is spanned over 30 years. And this renowned person held key positions in many leading companies such as Levi's, Coca-Cola, American President Lines, Transmarco, and Carson Cumberbatch. So he is none other than Mr. Bennett Patterson. So he spoke to you at the beginning of the session. So very good evening, sir. I warmly welcome you and we are honored to have you here. Sorry for the inconvenience that happened at the beginning of the session. So without taking further time, so we'll go to your session again.
Thank you very much for the pleasant introduction. It is always pleasure to be here to PURA Career Guidance Unit. So let me sort of once again start the session having said that. You see, when we are now, I know you are preparing for a competition, but that alone, that how do you write a portfolio of yourself or whatever the subject that you are, say you have selected leadership or you have selected communication, whatever you have selected, how do you build this portfolio? Now I was trying to skip this to a little bit of a discussion on what is useful to you. How do you develop a kind of a career portfolio for college students when you are exposed to the outer world? How do you do that? Now, usually, as Stephen Covey said, when you are engaged in something, you must always start end in mind. What's the purpose of my doing that? So you find most of you, when you are in college, when you come to your final year, our worry is whether I would be able to find a suitable stepping stone for my career. Usually your first job is a stepping stone where you would be able to enter into the world of work, and thereafter you should be able to carve your career path. So what you do is usually when you come to your final year, you must have a good understanding of yourself. Knowing you is very, very important. If you don't know you, then of course it's very difficult for someone else for you to explain. So you should know yourself. So when you do that, you would be able to sort of figure it out. What is my preferred industry? What is my preferred employer? What is my preferred career? These are some of the questions. So you must begin to work on that. You must be have a very fine focus on these three things. Because you find there are instances where sometimes we get into a job and we will burn out fast, because that is not the one that we wanted. But if you attempt to figure it out, that would help you in the long run. So what we say is, say for an example, if you can understand the industry, then you can understand the industry nuances or industry value system or industry related competencies or industry related knowledge base. So you would be able to sort of figure it out. You will not become a stranger. So you would spend little time, get to know them. Supposing we say in that industry, there's a particular company that you have sort of decided this is where I should start with, then you must do a little bit of a scanning, understanding of that particular company. What are their business strategies? What are their long-term objectives? What are their products? What kind of a brand they have? What are their intellectual capitals they have? So you must have a good understanding whether it's a family business or whether it's a listed company. So you must have a good understanding. And then if you see a particular career, then you find there's a career path. There are certain careers like accountancy or something like there are certain steps that you go on, career growth of that. You should be able to figure it out that first. You must do that before you start writing a portfolio. Now, once you do that, say for an example, you should be able to get a lot of material outside to read that industry related studies done by many people. Then you can read the central bank report, that you can see some annual reports of some company. There are many resources available for you to have a good understanding of. Now, as I explained to you, you find your qualifications alone will not secure you employment, because the employment happens at a very strategic conversation that they will have with you at the interview. There are many mechanisms that are used by leading companies to select people. So still the interview is about 60%. Then they have tests, then they check your references. There are other things that they do. But interviewing is still, though it is very conventional, there is still a valid thing. So there are certain assessment centers. There are many methods that they use, DHL, test batteries. I will not go to that. Somebody may explain that to you. So what you need to do is getting yourself prepared for it. So the preparation is, sometimes you can do with writing a portfolio about yourself. What I have been doing in the past, in terms of my scholarly work, my studies, my project work in college, my extracurricular activities in college, and also something that I have done to the society from a CSR standpoint. And even if you have helped your parents, if they are doing any business, whatever you have done, and if you have had an in-plant training opportunity, what kind of a learning you had, experiences you had, what were the strategic or the critical things that you were engaged in. So there are a lot. So you find you must be able to sort of collect the repertoire of your engagements in the past. Now, let me just take you through a few slides that I do that to keep focus on. Give me a minute. Yes. Can you see the slide, please? Hello?
No, sir.
No. All right, let me see.
No, sir.
You can't see that. Did I lose you somewhere? Let me see. Lovely. Can you see that? Hello?
Yes, sir. Can see.
Lovely. Okay, thanks. So you find it is, you try to showcase your versatile self, how good you are, in other words. Say, for an example, if you are, say, a person with quite a diverse skill set. I could remember that 2 years ago when I did portfolio workshop, there was a girl who was from the medical faculty, and he was quite a good writer and also an artist. So you find it is kind of a very diverse, your versatility, how versatile you are. So therefore, your portfolio is a compilation of all the materials that will showcase yourself and also your personal belief, your value system, your ethical radar of your life, your skills, your qualifications, education, and other experiences you have had to date. So usually a portfolio is a continuing exercise. You could add as you go on. So you find, but if you are preparing one, you have to prepare it to date. So there are 1,001 things that we do in life, you know, all these different fields. But you must be able to select the ones that are very critical for your end game. What's the purpose of my writing this portfolio? Now, if it is a competition for a particular competency like leadership, maybe communication, you should be able to sort of build your portfolio relevant to that particular competency. So therefore, the person who could read that would be able to find some insight into your personality and your work ethics. It is a wonderful way of demonstrating or showcasing yourself. Some people have, when you look back, sometimes you cannot recall. So therefore, it's important for you to do that. Because when you go for a kind of a discussion, conversation, if you have not practiced it before, if you have not done before, if you have not sort of put your mind map on the subject before, it would be very difficult for one to keep the conversation live. So sometimes you may be looking for words. Sometimes you don't know how to start it. I give you my own experience. Sometimes when we ask questions, tell me some of the kind of a difficult career problems that you had. And in fact, even though you have planned so much, the result was a failure. So the people have no idea how to answer that because they were not ready. So the portfolio writing provides you that opportunity. You are adequately prepared for it. That's a beautiful purpose of writing a portfolio. So you find we are writing a portfolio because you find if it is a job, if you are going for applying for a job, you will send your resume. The resume will not secure you a job. Person who read the resume will, if it is a good resume, will have a desire to see you. Then they will call you for an interview. If they see your resume is not that attractive, it doesn't dazzle the mind of the person who is reading it, he would not call you. So therefore you find but a portfolio would. So therefore most of the time if you go to a LinkedIn, most of these professionals, they have their profile, their portfolio in a way. It is not written, but it is in their personal profile. You can see them. So very critical aspects of their career successes. So you find it will help you in when you go for the interview or so your contest competition. You have ready reckoner to speak on. I have interviewed somebody in my career for the position of director of the hotel sector. Now, he was a kind of a CEO of a leading group of companies who is having a chain of hotels. When he came, he carried his portfolio and he offered a copy to me. He kept one with him and he was going sort of through in introducing himself and his career. He was using that portfolio. So you find that's an advantage of writing a portfolio. That would help you at an interview, at a conversation, at a discussion, in a competition. So you can identify the skills that you have gained through your various experiences. Now, various experiences does not mean having worked, not necessarily. Maybe college work, maybe organizing maybe this kind of a career workshop. You have demonstrated certain behavior. Those behavior has complemented the success of the event. The behavior has helped you to overcome certain hurdles, impediments, roadblocks. That experience may have helped you networking of people. That experience may help you certain problem solving. That experience may help you scientific thinking. So you find every experience brings us certain competencies that are very helpful in our future career. So you must choose the most relevant experiences for the portfolio, not all. Ones which to address the given purpose. So you must put it in an easy to understand format, readable format, with a logical sequence, and also to demonstrate your career growth. That would help that person to assess you. And also you find when you are reading through your portfolio, you can better articulate yourself. You would not be sort of searching in your brain, what be the best thing I should say. No, you have in your portfolio. And also if you can keep your portfolio properly tagged, when the interviewer asks a question, you can go to the right page in your portfolio in order to bring the best out of you. And also you find if you are writing a very good professional portfolio, it demonstrates your professional approach, your organizational capability, your communication capability. And those are some of the very important career-related skills. Even a good portfolio will demonstrate that. So now sort of a look at what are the things we would include in our portfolio. So you can usually, you find there in the world of so much of trouble with unethical behavior, you should write a statement of originality of your portfolio. Supposing if it's an electronically done thing, a paragraph stating that this is your work and it is very confidential and personal, and no parts of that portfolio should be copied or deleted without your consent. Now, when you write that, that is very professional approach, because only you can edit it. So you find it is important for you to do that. Then also you can have your work philosophy or your work ethics. Now, work ethics is you find how do you believe in yourself and also the industry that you are aiming at. You find some people write beautiful things like, say, I'm result-oriented person. I believe in teamwork. So you could begin to sort of give some your belief about yourself. So that's very important for someone to sort of at least work out your work philosophy right now. It is important. You find there are some people say, I am open for other people's opinion. I like challenging work, intellectually stimulating work. So I think you should be able to sort of demonstrating yourself. Don't write something that is not there in you. If you wish to do that, you must be able to sort of make sure that you would work towards that, if you do that. And also your career goals. What are your expectations for the next 3 to 5 year period? Say for an example, you see, supposing if you are kind of your career aspiration is to become, chief executive officer of a leading company. So you should be able to sort of say that, but you must remember that first of all, what are the jobs that you are going to engage in should be the stepping stone to get there. You should be able to sometimes in your skill areas must be able to sort of demonstrate some of the early signs of competencies that are required for that kind of career growth. So therefore, there is a connectivity of all what you write in your portfolio. And also you will write a small resume. Now you find the resume is a very brief document of yourself. If it's a curriculum vitae, it is a little longer version of that. Now the resume is a one-page document most of the time. It should never go beyond 1.5 pages. It must be done in a way that it gives you a snap picture of yourself. That is why the resume writing is very, very critical. Because you are not there in person when you send your resume to a job. It is that piece of paper and what is written on it. How have you written on it? So you find in that event, you must always set your resume. And then you write your skill area. What are you really good at and have demonstrated these skills? So you find it the particular purpose for which you are writing a portfolio. You try to identify maximum five major skill set areas. And then you should be able to find evidence of having done that. Anything that you have picked up as a skill, you should have something that you have engaged in, having demonstrated those, and which have paid fair for good results. So you find if you can select some recommendation that you got in such engagement, you may collect those examples. The projects that you have engaged in exemplifying these skill set, have them ready. The sources of work examples, including classroom projects, material that you have generated, like research papers, etc. And some of the work that you have done during your internship. And also community work that you have done, voluntary work that you have done, including in campus, certain clubs and associations that you have engaged in. And also other professional membership that you are already gained. Those are all important. So you find it's about yourself. In other words, inner focus. That is very, very important. So if you were to write a portfolio, the best way to do that is, first you will collect or write those experiences you have had, the qualification you have earned, projects you have done, clubs you have engaged in, all that you just write, make a list of them. And from that, you can see what are the ones that are very critical for this particular purpose for which you are writing a portfolio. That's your first task. And you find some of the evidence, like certification that you receive, photographs, journal articles. You may have those copies ready to be inserted into your portfolio. I could remember my personal experience as head of human resources of a group of companies. There are some of those people who brought in there. I have spent few days after the interview to read through them. And in order to sort of visualize this person's career, somebody helped me to check, using the references given by him, the authenticity of what he claimed. So it's important. So you find in a portfolio your achievements. You must remember there are 4 aspects of each achievement you must rate. What did you do, or what have you done? How have you done? How is the most important aspect? You find, let me give you an idea here. You know, there are instances where when you work with your bare hands, without using your brain, you are only a manual worker. So you can explain only what have you done. But if you have used your brain before you began to do that, and while you are doing that, even after work, the reflection of your work that you have done, you have used your brain. So therefore you can make a difference. So you become a craftsman, not a laborer anymore. You are discussing your craftsmanship, how different your product. That is where the differentiation comes into the world. That is where the innovation comes in. So each one of you and me, when we are doing something, we try to bring a differentiation. Otherwise it becomes a commodity. It must be something special. You should be able to describe with adjectives. You find that, I give you an example that I have heard. There was a particular lady was asking her husband to channel a particular doctor over and over again. She was expecting a baby, so she told him to channel this doctor. After 3 weeks, again channel this doctor. Then he was kind of turned to her and asked, "What are you doing?" Then she said, "Are you feeling jealous?" He said, "Yes, you could say that again." He said, "No." He said, "There are many gynecologists who have this same qualification. But I prefer this gynecologist because its bedside manners are so soothing. I feel very comfortable to discuss my complexities with him without being embarrassed." That's how the doctor, how he treats the patient, how part. So yours also in your portfolio, when you are writing, don't simply write what you did. Try to surface what differentiation you have brought in. How much value you have added. Because the value creation in everything that we do is so important. And also you could be able to say what you learn out of that. There's always a learning rising out of everything that we have done. And you could still explain how I'm going to use that learning to the future. That's important. There are times where sometimes we ask candidates, tell us some mistakes you have done in life. Some people classically say, I can't remember any. So that means you have not tried to do something new anytime. Because when you try to do something new, you tend to make certain mistakes, no doubt. It is accepted. So, and also you find everything when you do, if there's something wrong, you should have certain learnings out of that. So when you are explaining that, you can say that this was a mistake, but I have learned through that process. Given a chance again, I would do it different. Oh, lovely. So you must remember that it is important. So how do you select the best examples? How do you select when you are writing this portfolio for whatever competition, whatever, how do I select the right example, right work experience? That's important. You find in COVID-19 situation, some of the doctors have, some of the nurses, some of the ambulance drivers, they have beautiful things to say. Something very critical, not a mundane. People rise up to the occasion. So you may have risen up to the occasion. You're brilliant yourself. You must be able to bring that. So therefore you will ask the question, what will that work that I have done adequately demonstrate skills, competencies, or achievements of a goal? Ask that question. Out of that, what are the skills relevant to this particular event for which I am writing my portfolio? That's important. If it's a job, how it's connected. What is the best of my work? Whether I have worked in a teamwork, whether I have done sufficient research, I did some benchmark best practices of others, I did a lot of consultation with my senior superiors, I had a chat with my customers, understand their need, so like that, best. What are the examples that brings more skills and more competencies? There are certain work, very simple. There are certain work, there are a lot of complexity. That brings best out of you. Bring them. And thereafter, practice speaking about your examples. Be familiar with them. Begin to love your work. begin to mentally engage in your work, then you could be able to sort of say with confidence. It is important. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Any questions? If you have any questions, you can ask me before I go further. Oh, sorry, what happened?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yes.
Yes, small clarification. Previously, sir mentioned that in the portfolio that we had to submit photographs and also proofs, right?
Yes.
So in case now, suppose we have multiple certificates and for different sort of skill to support different skill sets and whatever activities that we were partaking in, wouldn't that look a bit unprofessional when we bombard the whole portfolio with certificates, or is there any other suggestion then sir can give us, maybe?
Yeah, so you can select out of those certificates, one which best fit for that situation. That would demonstrate whatever behavior or the skill set that you have demonstrated. You find when I wrote my portfolio when I was in Columbia Business School for my MBA, I had repertoire, huge, 3-ring file. But when I presented to different occasions, I selected the ones that best fit for that, not whole thing that I have been accumulating. So you accumulate them to keep it, that is yourself, but you must be able to sort them out in order to present it to a particular event, and you bring the relevant ones. Now, so answer given question, we say for an example, you have got a commendation from, we say, scientific research institution where you have presented a paper, we say, it has been acclaimed as a best or whatever it is. But you find that's a piece of paper, so that you have, that's the evidence of that. But you have a good story behind that. How have you done it? That is where you bring those incidents. Say for an example, supposing we say, for this particular event, if somebody had done the fundraising or collecting of resource personnel for this particular event, you get a certificate at the end, say that it's a well done, well organized event. That's a certificate. But behind that certificate, there's a lot of work you have done. There are many events cumulatively bring that certification to you. So you pick, when you are doing that portfolio for that particular event, suppose if it's a communication event, or suppose a leadership event, you bring those incidents that are relevant to that. Certification will appear in the kind of a portfolio. It sits there as a document of evidence. But what have you done? Your skill set need to be demonstrated. So whenever you find that, say for an example, supposing you become the dean's list in your university, and it's an event kind of that you are given that, but the story behind that, it has the agony, it has the ecstasy, it has the adventure. Those things are the important ones. You select some of them to demonstrate your mettle. That mettle which is important to that event. So you cannot sort of send the same portfolio to every event. You should be able to select the ones that best fit for them. Now, if you are doing for this particular career guidance event, whatever the area that you have chosen, you must be able to sort of select them. But there are many. Now, I will say for an example, if I were to select something that I led, we said first 11 team of the university in cricket. So I got a certificate, said that I was a captain of the team or whatever. But the behind that, how I built my team. So those are the important things that you have to demonstrate your behavior yourself. Did I answer your question? Hello?
Halfway, sir. So basically now, just to get an understanding, so now it's a prerequisite, like there are some points allocated for the number of maybe the workshops that you have participated in, right?
That's right.
So if that's the case, now how can we really tackle that sort of situation when they say specifically in the judging criteria saying that you get points to the number of workshops that you participated? So then anyway, we'll end up having to put everything in.
Yes. Say for an example, supposing if someone, is that the way, is that the criteria in which that the selection is being made? Number of workshops or number
Yes,
of relevant workshops?
Yes, sir. That was for
Number
yes.
of relevant workshops or number of workshops?
The number of work based on the number of workshops participated, now based on the number of competitions you have represented,
Right.
like that.
Yeah. So you find if you were to name that, you have to name them, it is only, but of those you find if you were to speak on one or two that best demonstrated yourself, then you have to think through that. What are the ones that you would speak on? Other one is a list. I have participated in 10. So supposing if I say I have participated, say for an example now, let me give you an example. When I went to International Students' Day of Columbia Business School, I was the only Asian in that group, 52. Then I was asked to sort of state some of the things that I have done for my country, to my people, to my organization, to my family, that kind of thing, things, in order to demonstrate my humility. The subject was humility, so I was kind of thing. But so I picked few things that is well demonstrated myself, in order to sort of highlight my my philosophy of being human, demonstrating humility. So that's how we do that. So I don't know what's a kind of a marking criteria of yours, but if they say the number is a magical number, 10 or 8 or whatever, but you can go to many workshops, but if there are few which has sort of given you an opportunity to sort of learn or opportunity to demonstrate yourself, I think those are the ones that you would you must pick them up. So you list them. If they say, because if you have gone to, we say you get more points because you have gone to 10, another person has gone to 8, will get less marks. So I do not, because I'm not qualified to make a comment on that. But is that the case? You have to indicate in your portfolio the list of things, but you may highlight some of the ones that which you sort of. I know I came for one of the competitions. I can remember 4 or 5 years ago, where I raised questions. When they did that, out of these events, what was the most profounding experience for you? I asked the candidate. So then, that person sort of picked up one and spoke about demonstrating some of the skills, competencies, network capabilities, all that, using one. So you must always just record them, keep it ready. Okay? Have them ready in your portfolio, not only the number of which some of the things that you can showcase yourself. Okay? All right? So you may be able to get that, like that, good question. So therefore, I know. So supposing if that's it, when you go for the competition, If your portfolio has to indicate number of workshops that you have participated, there are, the number you may indicate, but of that, you may be able to demonstrate what learnings you had, what kind of experiences you had, and what are the ones that have given you a little bit of a kind of a mind of inquiry or the curiosity, driving you to seek more knowledge. Even you go to this workshop, my workshop, if that creates certain amount of mind of inquiry, what are the other things I should read in order to get to know about this? That's important. All right. And also you can have certain work in progress, not completed, yet going on. Don't hesitate to record them. Some of the things that you are doing, some of the career-related projects that you are doing, college activities that you are engaged in. They are not completed, but still going on. Those are important. And also you can say that some of the skills that you are using, some of the qualification that you will gain after that, that's important, work in progress. And also your certification, your diplomas, your degree awards, all that must be included in your portfolio. Now, as I told you that, I know this is for a competition. Probably if you are going for a particular related competition, we say leadership one, then of course, your portfolio, all that, the certification, all that must be related to that, or must have some kind of a relationship, some kind of an influence in developing leadership. That's kind of. And also you can have certain community services that you have engaged in. Say, for an example, some of the projects that you have done in order to help the most deserving, marginalized people in the society, or the most deserving students in your college, maybe in your village, some of the things. So if you have some photograph, your work examples, you must be able to sort of put them into your portfolio. It's important. And also your professional membership, if you have any. Say, for an example, some of you may have already, if you're doing engineering, probably there are certain, and also certain alumni that you belong to. Those are important in your portfolio. If someone asks you why those are important, because that's your network of contacts. That's a very important thing into the leadership future. Because today you find in society, one who wins is a person who has the right network of contacts. And also your academic plan of study, whether you have certain future aspirations, what you engage in right now and also what's to the future. So you can say, for an example, you can list them, say, for an example, after this, I'm going to do my MBA or PhD or whatever studies, or I would be branched off into something relevant to accountancy, whatever. So that's important in that. And also you find in our life, most of the time in universities, in our clubs, whatever, there are certain people who have made a remarkable impact to our growth. Now, those people must be in your portfolio. Someone who has, throughout your student career, your work career, who has significant impact in your growth, your professional development. Have that person also in your portfolio, his picture, his biography or whatever. That's important. That demonstrates your gratitude of persons who have helped you throughout. In my portfolio, I have 2 people. And that's sign of gratitude. Sign of gratitude in the sense that you always, so remember the ones you have helped. That's important. Demonstrate your philosophy, your personal philosophy. And the references, you can always have about 3 to 5 people whom you can use to vouch for your personality and your professional qualifications. That's important. So that's a lot. So if somebody asks, these are some of the pictures that you can put. I just give you an idea. Commendations, certification ceremony, even the graduation ceremony is all right. If you don't want to sort of show in page, you can have this, I have shown you somewhere here, quite a number of things in one picture. It's fine. Okay. That's important for you. And also community work, some of the pictures you have taken while doing community work, that's interesting, because you find people need, there are people who are, our brains are wired differently. Now, in my case, I'm a big picture guy. I'm not a very detail-oriented person. But there are detail-oriented people who are looking at, evidence. They want logical evidence. So it's important. I know of a guy who worked with me in one of the subsidiaries as head of HR. He reads the resume at least 5 times with a red pen or a pencil on a copy. He marks certain things that he noticed, maybe a grammar, punctuation errors, certain gaps, that he's ready for if that person is called for interview, certain amount of verifications on the resume. Some are very detailed. Now, in my case, I'm not. It's different. So you must be, these pictures are important. Sort of student activities, you must have them. Pictures, magazines where your article appeared, those are so important in order to demonstrate. And also your recreation activities, where you have the playing field, maybe you are doing yoga, or those are very important today. You find today's world, I'm talking from the career perspective, right? People who have engaged in that kind of a thing have been considered as, in a situation like this that we are going through, so much of VUCA environment, very volatile, very complex, uncertain, and ambiguous environment, where people who have this kind of exposure, they stand out. They seem to energize other people. They can sort of self-regulate themselves. That's important. So these are some of the things that you show. Say, for an example, some of the people who write about my leadership and I'm emotionally intelligent person. So one must be able to sort of demonstrate this by certain incidents. I give you an example of a situation that I know of. When I was in Kellogg Business School, we had a kind of an Indian gentleman in the class. We were in our early 30s, but this gentleman was around maybe late 50s, kind of thing, coming from Bank of India. So some of the young people from Microsoft used to, kind of have this, kind of their mind of inquiry as to why this old man is in this class. So we were on summer vacation playing soccer. But in this part of the world, we say soccer, but in America, we call it kind of football. So he came to the grounds, a pair of shorts and kind of sneakers. So these 2 young guys are thinking, oh, God, this old man is going to play soccer. So, and went up to him and said, oh, you're going to play football. So he turned to them. They were teasing him. He turned to them and said, well, I'm not good as you in football, but I'm a good artist. I can teach you a couple of kind of a few things about how to draw kind of artistic eye. But I can learn from you football. And those 2 people lost their hostility. Now that's kind of emotionally intelligent person who can diffuse kind of an emotional derailment of a person. kind of thing. That's interesting story. You must have that kind of a story in order to sort of demonstrate that you have. Otherwise, it's mere words. I am emotionally intelligent person. You have to say where. What have I done in order to showcase myself? That's important. These are. And also your literature work. If you have done and if you have written articles, short stories, critics, if you have done any kind of thing, that's important in order to keep it with you, because those are all important in the world of multi-skilled challenges. So that's kind of a lot I have. Let me go back to again, when you write now, I heard from someone, because you find you are going for the competition, so therefore if it is for particular competency, I know there's communication one, leadership another, I know there's one. So you must be able to sort of understand that the your portfolio should be able to relate to that particular subject or particular discipline. But in general for you, I mean, say, if my intervention is going to be futuristic for you, you should prepare your portfolio for your career too from right now, not only for this event. So now I'm open for questions, then I could be able to sort of cover some of the things that I have not covered that you are eager to know or interested to know. So let's take your questions. Now the time is 7:40, so we have about 15 minutes as the time allocated for me, 1.5 hours. About 15 minutes of questions.
Sir, I have two questions for you.
Yes.
Sir, now with regard to this JESA competition,
Yes.
to show about our academic status, now it was told by you we have to show our transcripts. But right now, since I'm an undergraduate, I still do not have a transcript. So in that case, how do I show my academic, status in the portfolio? And the second question is there any particular number of pages that we have to stick to when we are creating our portfolio?
Lovely. So the second question I will take first, because the first one I have to think through that to answer. First one is the portfolio number of pages should not more than 20. Keep it to 20. 15 is ideal, 20 is luxury. Okay. Now coming to the other one, because you have a work in progress. Now, even though you don't have your transcript yet because you have not finished it, but you have certain kind of annual achievements that are being communicated to you by way of grades or marks or whatever? No? Do you have your university?
Yes, we do have via like an record.
Right. So therefore, if that record could be certified by someone, that would be good enough. Hello?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
That's important. But you must remember that those are all work in progress. But of course, you must always mindful of that. You find if you are a third-year student, if you have 3 years of that, some of your growth, could be seen by some of those gradings that you have got over a period of time. So that's important to you. And also you find sometimes you may be able to see from that, if you were to speak, maybe we say you have taken, we say in one semester, 2 subjects or whatever. And then you may see sometimes you may have shown certain remarkable achievements in some, not so in the others. Do you follow that now? That is where you must be able to see yourself, kind of where my strength lies. That's important. But answering that question, you can say if you have no transcript right now, you may be able to get. Now I know in my days we get kind of a dean's list kind of a thing. So we get every year we get into every semester we get to a dean's list, and then we keep them because that's a letter which was given by the college. So we have in our portfolio that. Similarly, you can have if it is not, if it's only a communication, you can get a certain kind of a certification done by someone, college register, or somebody should be able to sign that for you. Okay, lovely. 2 questions. So the number of pages, try to keep it to 15. If you have kind of very colorful, quite a number of photographs, certification, etc., then of course you have to go up to 20 and keep it. Right. Other questions?
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, you had a slide where you spoke about literature, right?
Yeah, literature.
Yeah. In the end, I think, yeah. So with regard to that, sir, so if I'm writing an article right now, currently, so then, sir, it's hard to give evidence as it's not published yet. So,
Right.
sir, when it comes to a work in progress article, how can I show evidence?
So you can say, for an example, even though you don't have evidence to submit to that, say for an example, if you have an idea where you're going to publish it, whether you are writing on invitation by someone, or whether you are writing to a particular focus group, you can indicate that. That's fair enough. And also what is important there is when you are kind of writing that kind of a journal or research paper or a literature review or whatever it is, you should be having an idea why I'm writing, for which reader group or whatever it is, that you can indicate that. So if you're writing on now, in my case, sometimes, I get certain invitation from universities sometimes to send a write-up on a particular subject. Then that invitation, if it's a work in progress, that invitation is good evidence for me. Say that I'm working on this this paper right now. So and also you can indicate one other way of indicating, say for an example, supposing if you are engaged in certain amount of, a preliminary research work to write this, if you have done a certain data gathering paper or something, then you can put that as evidence. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Say for example, if I'm doing a research paper, I will try to send a questionnaire to a few cross-section of people. So I may add that questionnaire as one of the evidence. So but you did not go to that extent here, but you can indicate as a work in progress literature. By the way, what are you writing?
Sir, so my research is also a work in progress, sir, and on top of that, sir, I'm also writing an article for the university, my department. We are going to publish a magazine, sir. So for that, I'm writing.
So you can write, indicate the magazine, and there's a, whether it's a periodical or whatever it is, that's fair enough. You are substantiating that the authenticity of what you are doing. That's fair enough.
Yes.
Good question.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Use your time profitably. Hello. But make sure.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
So now say that there are a few now you make the portfolio according to a particular design you have in your head, right? And then now is it an option if we say like now say that we want to certify, we want to give proof for something, for example, whatever, some certificate, can we give like an annexure saying refer page 4 to 5 of certificate document or something like that?
Yeah. Good question, dear, for all of you, not only to you the answer that I skipped, that it slipped my mind. In your portfolio, you must have your index of contents. first page. So you can indicate in that where these certificates are, which page, from page 10 to page 15, certifications and whatever you can say, indicate that. So there is one way of doing that. So therefore you can put as annexures at the end, kind of all the certification, but indicate in your index, what are these certificates, which page are they? Page 14 is your, we say, graduation certificate. We say page 16 is commendation you receive. Whatever, you can indicate that. That's a good question. Everyone, please make note that your portfolio must have an index of contents. So in that you can indicate page 1 to page this, and then that would help the reader to sort of, it's a readable document. That's a good question. Thank you very much. Thanks. That was a very good question. Yes.
So actually a follow-up to that question. Can we do this? Like say that we have a separate document of certificates. Can we say refer page 5 to 6 of certificate document? Is that also all right?
You can do that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Hello.
Excuse me, sir. Another question related to that. So when we are indexing the certificates, do each and every certificate have to be indexed, or can we just say from page A to Z, we have all the certificates are there, or do we have to individually go in, like in the contents, do we have to mention this is the certificate for graduation, this is the certificate for this event, like that?
Now everyone, now listen to me. Now when we are writing a portfolio, we are trying to demonstrate our professionalism. So therefore, how it is not sake of putting those. How do you professionally do that? Say for an example, you can put page 5 to page 8, all my academic qualifications certificates. Page 8 to 10, my recreation related certificates. So that's a professionally do that. So therefore, what you can segregate them where even the reader who is reading your portfolio, who is evaluating your portfolio, see, there's so much of professionalism going into that. Make it a very readable for the discerning, because you are setting the tone of your work, So you can see that. So use the professionalism. You can say, if your certificates come from your, we say, social work, your recreational work, your academic work. So you can put them, 5 to 10 days, and then you can do that. That's a professional approach. Good question. All right. Okay. Lovely. So I'm glad that I was given this opportunity to speak to you. When Chatu spoke to me about 2 days ago, it took me by surprise, but I'm glad that I was given the opportunity. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best on this event, and also in your academic career. I would like you to use what our exchanges today, 1.5 hours, for the good measure of creating a portfolio for your career even after this event. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best. Thank you. Good night.
Mr. Pat, so this is Chatu again.
Yes,
so,
Chatu.
and I take again this opportunity to give our thanks and congratulate you. And you are, actually, thank you very much. Every year you are giving marvelous.
No problem. I give it back to the system.
Yes, helping. Yes, you are helping, and it's very important to us. And in future also, I think you will give your help to carry this these workshops of CGU. Thank you very much.
Always pleasure. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks again. Take care. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe. Thanks.
So I think, Mr. Pat, the audience doesn't have any more questions from you. So thank you so much for sharing your very valuable insights. So this will absolutely be a guide to the betterment of us. So I'm quite sure that our audience members is for the audience members, our workshop has provided you with the expertise guidance you need to write a good portfolio. So it will definitely be advantageous when starting a long journey in the future, in your future profession. So I deem it a great honor to propose the vote of thanks for this valuable occasion. So first and foremost, I would like to thank Mr. Pat, our resource person. So thank you very much, dear sir. So you spent your immensely valuable time here to be with us today, and you shared your knowledge with us and your in-depth knowledge and invaluable expertise and experience. So altogether, it's a really good enlightenment for us all. And also, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to Professor Sudat Manjula Amarasena, the head of the Department of Decision Sciences and the director of the Career Guidance Unit, for his guidance, encouragement, and support that he has given in making this effort a successful one. So my heartfelt thanks goes to Ms. Chaturangani Tennakon, the career advisor for the Career Guidance Unit and our senior treasurer of the Career Skills Development Society, because she has always extended her helping hand in times of need. So I thank all the organizing committee members for making this event a successful one. And last but not least, thank you to our amazing audience for joining us and to make this session a successful one. So thank you so much for your cooperation. So with that, I would like to end our session. And before that, I would like to say something to inspire you. So you can only perform as a winner if you see yourself as one. So good night. Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you very much. It was always a pleasure. Thanks.